Okay, let's try this again. This is actually the third time I've tried to do this video, and your uncle kept walking through with, I don't know. I don't know what he's walking through with, but anyway, making noise and all that stuff. So I had to stop the video, and then I was pausing the video, and then I was stopping the video, and finally I just ended up stopping it and deleting it because there were so many pauses in there because it kept going in and out. Anyway, this is for you, son, and you know, I'm trying to keep you kind of in the family loop with everything going on with this YouTube channel, so you can see what's going on and everything like that. And right now, a lot's going on. I mean, I'm in the bedroom now because apparently that's the only place I can have peace. So, but right now it's crazy. It really is. It's not crazy here because we really don't give a shit about any of this damn virus bullshit. I grew up on a farm. I used to swim in cow ponds. If I'm immune to anything, it's gonna be this because I've done some pretty weird shit growing up and played in some nasty stuff, not knowing that you're not supposed to play in that kind of stuff. But I'm pretty sure my immune system is pretty good. So you got the coronavirus going on, and you got the government coming in, and I don't know who is doing what really. I mean, I don't even think they do. Really, I don't think they have any clue what they're doing. They just know that right now they have a virus and they can control what you do. That's their whole mentality. And to me, that's not at all what this country's about. I mean, if they're that worried about the virus, and instead of putting lockdowns on everybody and telling you go home, stay home, don't do nothing, just sit there, let's wait it out. Are why are we not just like getting together and find a cure? Maybe. I mean, it can't be that damn hard. It's the coronavirus. It's been around for thousands of years. It's just a mutated form, unless somebody did something that they can't figure it out. Which, if they did, then that person or country should be held liable. Straight up. I mean, you can't change a virus as something that you want and set it loose and deny all culpability of it is bullshit, especially killing people. But then you have the flu, it mutates every year, turns into a different flu. Everybody's like, well, you get the flu vaccine. Well, yeah, you do. You get the flu vaccine from the previous flus. Viruses mutate. That's what they do. That's how they do it. So when you get a flu vaccine, it pretty much is not going to help you with the current flu. It's basically supposed to help it not be as worse. I guess. I don't know. I have never had the flu vaccine. I'm never going to get it. I'm definitely not getting this coronavirus vaccine. If I do get it, I'm pretty sure I'll probably be part of the 99.98 percentile that'll live through it. And whatever. I'm just going on about normal shit. If somebody wants to shame me for not wearing a mask, then good luck to them for trying to put one on me. Kick me out of your business. I really don't care. I'm not doing that shit. On the other side of things, of course, you probably heard, I don't know if you have or not, but you might have, about this George Floyd individual who was literally murdered by a cop who the cop didn't give a shit. He didn't. He had a badge, he had power, he's going to hold it over this guy. He did, and he killed him. And then he's trying to basically say it was in my right as a cop to detain him in that certain way, and it's bullshit. You're not. You're absolutely not. The guy was on the ground cuffed, and you're freaking got your knee in his neck, and he's trying to tell you can't breathe, and you don't care. No, sorry. Honestly, if this guy gets off on this, I will be right there next to the rest of the community. I don't care if they're black, if they're brown, if they're yellow, if they're red. I don't care. Purple, polka dot, whatever. I'll be right next to them as a brother in arms saying this is wrong. This guy killed an individual and he needs to go to prison and hang out in prison. with all the other criminals that kill people. I don't I don't get it, but they did take him into custody today and they charged him with third degree murder. To me, that would be more of a second degree murder thing because he intentionally kept his knee on there. I mean, I'm going to say he didn't mean to kill him, but he died anyway due to his negligence. So that to me is second degree murder. I mean, first degree is where he planned it all out and, he didn't get up in the morning. You know what that's all about. He didn't get up in the morning and say, I'm going to go kill this guy because he's black. No, I don't see that. Maybe, I don't know. I know this guy's had a few issues with excessive force before, but third degree murder I think is a little bit lenient. I think they should have went with second degree. I mean, honestly, and I think the only reason they're doing that because if it goes first degree or something like that, it'll go to death penalty. So, on that note, me as a white man, it's not tough on me. It can't be because I'm a white man, and I mean I've read articles and all this stuff about the bigger generation or the bigger cities and the issues they're dealing with racism, and it boggles my mind. It really does. I mean, I grew up in a community of 200 people. We had black neighbors that were, well, I grew up in the country, but we did have black neighbors that were like a mile away. My nearest neighbor was a half mile away, but they were a mile away, and I played with them. I mean, I was freaking like 6, 7, 8 years old and never had an issue with them. Went to school with them. I mean, they were people just like me, just like you, just like anybody. They were people. They are people. And it really irritates me with the racism thing. It truly does. Because I don't think I have ever. In fact, I've been so upset about this that I've actually looked at myself and was like, have you ever done this? And I have dug in my memory bank so hard trying to figure out if I ever treated somebody different because of how they looked or anything, and I got nothing. I mean, it's like your grandmother. She, and everybody will say this about their own moms. She was an angel, this and that. No, my mom wasn't an angel growing up. She would definitely pull the freaking wooden spoon or the belt out and whoop my ass if I got in trouble, So it wasn't like she was some Saint Teresa or Saint Mary or, Sister Teresa. I'm sorry. My apologies. It wasn't like that. But she never had any problems with anybody. Your grandfather, he was racist. He was, and I never ever understood how. Mom told me, he wasn't really like that till he went to the military and went over to Germany, and he did his little stint he was by Vietnam or in Vietnam, but he didn't see the action that they actually had. He was out before it got really, really, really bad. But he was there when it was getting highly tensioned. And then she said when he came back, he was just different. So and he won't talk about it. He doesn't talk about anything. He just tell you, yeah, I've been to Germany, and that's it. That's it. Nothing else. I don't know one single story of him when he was in the military overseas. Not one. So that's what always gets me into those people who say they were in the military and they were snipers and blah, 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 and they're just telling you story after story after story. And it's like, you know what? You're a bullshitter, because a lot of people that I actually do know that were in the military that did see some nasty shit, they don't talk about it. They don't want to. Why would you? They don't glorify it. They've seen what they've seen, and they keep that pretty bottled up. I mean, to the point where sometimes it's hurtful. I mean, me, myself, I joined the Marines, and right before I went to go raise my hand and say the oath and sign the documents, like a dipshit, I got a freaking DUI. And back then, in the 80s, early 90s, very early 90s, you couldn't go into the military with DUI. It was different than before. Before, if you got in trouble, they usually just told you either go to the military or you're going to jail. You're going to get your shit straightened up. They quit doing that. Honestly, I think they should have push that more, you know. So anyway, let's get off that subject. The subject I'm on now is with the racism thing, though. You know, the racism, it's a bad deal, and it exists, and it is hurtful to me and my soul, to me and my heart. That people are actually out there like that are actually that racist. I mean, you look at me, and I've struggled for everything in my life. I have. The only thing I've never struggled for is like when your mother, or your not your mother, I'm sorry, when your grandmother and grandfather would help me out. They give me a hands up, not a hand out, a hands up. And I've always, I kind of take it for granted because they do that. You know, not very many people do that. And then I see families that don't do that at all. You know, you see sisters calling their mother a bitch, and uh, daughters, or I'm sorry, daughters calling their mother a bitch, or you know, sons yelling at their mother or pushing them around, or their father pushing them around, or the father beating the wife, or the father beating the kids, or molesting the kid. You know, all of that. I don't get it because I never had that in my life, except for my uncle who used to knock the shit out of me when he lived with us. That I have had. That man, I still pray to this day for forgiveness on my thoughts towards him. That's between me and my God. So, our God. Anyway, that's my issue, not yours. The racism thing, though, I mean, like I was saying, you look at me, and I even brought the family picture in here just so we could kind of go over it. I mean, there you are right there, and there's your brother, and there's your sister, half sister, and then there's your older brother Michael, and Tisha, and then we got Pumpkin, and then we got Peanut, and then we got Kyler, you know, and then we got little man right there. And you look at this family. I mean, seriously. You and your brother we adopted not because I felt like I was some superior white man that needed to get a young Indian boy out of the children's home where you two were at when you were little guys. I never even looked at it that way. It wasn't like, oh, we got to pity these Indian kids. We got to take them and save them because that is the white man way. We are the saviors. No, it wasn't anything like that at all. What it was me looking at two young boys who had such an infectious smile about them. And you had been in foster care for 8 years. 8 years. People don't see that. And I look at that and I'm like, these two kids, and you guys were trying to help other kids. That was the thing that amazed me. I was like, these two boys are still walking around with a big smile on their face. They're helping kids, and they have gone through freaking hell, and they still have hope. That's why I fell in love with you. That's why I wanted to be your father. That's it. You've asked me why did you adopt it. That was it right there. Because you had such a determined spirit and heart, and I've seen you help people. I've also seen you be mean to people, but I've seen you help people, and it's from your heart. It's not something that you're gonna get something out of if you help them. You do it from your heart. Your brother Delaney does it from his heart. He helps people. He helps animals. You two have some of the biggest hearts I've seen. Yeah, and that's why we adopted you as our son. Not because you were from the Lakota Sioux tribe, not because you were Indian boys and destitute and we were needing to save you. It was because we loved you because of you, and that was it. But then, it's like your mother, Rhonda, of course, we got divorced after that. You know that. And I don't wish any ill on your mother whatsoever. I mean, we had our issues. That's between me and her, and that's it. But you look at your mom, Andrea, and she is, her family came straight from Mexico City. So she is a Latina that I married, and you got, I don't know. I've been called a racist sometimes because I was white. Some lady actually said I was racist online because I was a white man. And I was like, how can I be racist? And it's because you're white. So I'm white, I'm racist? I don't understand that one bit because I'm not racist. I have cousins that are black, I have cousins that are Latinos and Latinas. I have a wife that's Latina. I have two boys who are or I'm sorry, who are American Indian from the Lakota tribe. And if I'm saying black and this offends people and it's African American, my apologies. I don't know. This is where I grew up. It was black, Indian, Mexican. Now I try and whatever. I don't care. You guys can hammer on me all you want. But that's not the point of this. The point is that we've had the virus and we've had this bullshit going down with this George Floyd, who I've looked at, and I want you to take note of this guy. I really do, son. And if you made it this far, then you can watch the rest of it, because I want you to listen to this guy. You need to check out some of his videos he's had on Twitter. He actually was in jail for drugs and a lot of stuff. When he was younger, he was stupid and he did stupid things. We all do. God forbid. The thing is, son, is that he turned towards God. And when he turned towards God, he ended up being a pillar of his community in Houston, Texas, as, and I'm not sure if he was a minister, because I'm not going to quote any of that, because I do not know, but I know that he was in the ministry for 10 years, helping kids, trying to get them to put their guns down, do all, he was heart and soul trying to be a man of God. And that's the way it should be. And that's the way I am. I do not fear God upon my death. I fear God for what he can do. I mean, he's pretty much, God is God. And I do fear for my soul, because sometimes I wonder if I'm doing enough to please what I need to do for God. That's between me and him, or her, Alpha, Omega, whatever. Anyway. I'm just tired of it all. I really am. Tired of it all. And I hope to see you on sentencing day. And I hope that at some point this prosecutor, who has been more harsh on you than any other kid that did about the same thing, has a heart change. I don't know if he will or not. I mean, I don't understand how what you did and what other kids did was any different, but yet the only difference I do see, and this is where I have issues, is the fact that you are a Lakota Sioux Indian from the reservation and these other kids were white. And that pisses me off to no end. And this Nathan Hanks, prosecuting attorney, who is pushing this, I say so many prayers right now to just for my thoughts on what I want to do to this guy, because he is using you as a stepping stone, a political game, and I honestly think he has issues with other races, because he's a rich white kid who actually came from a very rich white family and never had to work a day in his life. Really. I mean, everything was paid for. So, unfortunately, that's what we have in our system. And I wish it wasn't like that. I wish it was just God and justice. Anyway, son, it's running on 20 minutes. I went on way too long. So, I love you, son. Keep your faith in God up. Keep your head up. I love you very much, and I miss you. I will talk to you later. Bye.